Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow. So I always love this second part of the conversation where we go to uncharted waters. The conversation continues with Navine Eldesouki, and we were just talking about, finding yourself amidst all the noise that comes around us and amidst the parts that tell us whether. I was just talking about my story of the not good enough syndrome. And I say conquering the not good enough syndrome, or pandemic, actually. I called it a pandemic about 2 years ago. And I'm like, that is a pandemic, It is, because one way or another, even though social media has equipped us with a lot more ways to show up and a lot more ways to connect, it has also subjected us to a lot more ways to judge ourselves against others. And that's why I thought of it as a pandemic, is literally every country I travel to, every person I spoke to, one way or another, man or woman, even though men are a bit more subtle about it, but they kind of always feel they're not good enough because, the benchmarks are much higher and they're comparing themselves to others, and they're comparing themselves to even other people in different fields that are not even comparable. But you have this spectrum in front of you and you just can't help but be conditioned, or actually execute on your conditioning that, yeah, look at what they've done. Now I've done nothing. And we discount ourselves.
Absolutely. And I think that's the danger of social media, is the fakeness. And, I'd say in some ways our generation, actually, I don't know, maybe I'm a bit older than you, but our generation,
no.
we lived life without it for a good chunk of our lives.
Yeah.
Our children haven't.
Yeah.
So this is what they're going to grow up knowing. And that's what's sad about it, is that they're going to grow up comparing and looking at life in a through different lens, the perfect lens, which is very unhealthy, I find. And like, as adults, we struggle with it ourselves. We do compare, we do look, and we say, oh, well, they're so successful, or we look what they've achieved, or look how perfect this is, look at the home, look at whatever it is that's going on in other people's lives. That very easily makes us, like you rightly said, judge ourselves, put ourselves down, feel like that we're not achieving, we're not, good enough, like the term that you were using. And it does take effort to constantly remind yourself that it's not real.
Yeah. And I think the more we bring that into the spotlight, the more then, and that's where I realized the importance of mindset. It is being able to have the awareness and switch my mind. And that's what helped me going, from doctorate degree to feeling worthless to transitioning as like, so now what do I want? And it is that awareness that I get to control my thoughts, and I get to control how I judge myself. And I do fall, of course, in the pitfalls of comparing. But I snap out of it quicker now with, hang on a second, why am I doing this? And what am I getting out of it? And it is constantly reminding myself of that, and understanding that this phrase that Intricacies uses, which I love, it is, don't compare your day 1 to someone's day 100. And it is that someone is on the same journey, but they're much further down the path than you. And yet again, I think we could have parallel paths, but they're very different for each of us. But we think, or we've been conditioned to think, that we're all down the same path, that we all have to have the same journey. And that's why we keep comparing ourselves, but our journeys are very different. And as you said, the way, like being an expat, that shapes you in a different way. Then I can't compare myself to my friends back home in Egypt, who I've been out of Egypt for like 15, 16 years now. Mm-hmm. I can't compare myself to them and say, what have they achieved versus what have I achieved? And because our lives got different shapes to it, and different daily routines to it, and different interactions.
You're right. And I think, like we were saying before we started recording, is that we don't see the journey.
Yes.
We see the end result.
Yeah.
And that's what the danger is that we see, like you were saying, that really made sense. It's like, don't compare your day 1 to day 100, because that person that we're comparing ourselves could have been working for 10 years to reach where they've reached.
Exactly.
But here we are, we've just started following them like, wow, look what they've achieved and how did they do that? We don't see how much they struggled, how much they worked to reach that point.
Yeah.
So, I think, social media can be great in many ways, but I think it can also really play on people's mental health in a very negative way as well.
Yeah. And speaking of which, October 10th on Saturday is World Mental Health Day. So that's good. It's an interesting twist. We're doing a talk about it, especially mental health or mental wellness within the workplace. And I think that is a topic that we have to keep addressing all the time now. Like for me growing up, mental health was about whether you have a mental disease and you need to be diagnosed and treated for it, rather than even now waking up not feeling okay. That is addressing or trying to think of your mental wellness. And mental wellness includes comparing yourself to others. Mental wellness includes, your anxiety, your PTSD. It goes, the spectrum is so huge that we just see, again, a chunk of it. And I'm not talking about it. I don't want to talk about my feelings, but feelings are a big chunk of it. And that's why the terms like emotional intelligence are up and running now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's important to recognize that as well. Is it for ourselves? I think as expats as well, we suffer from it a lot more.
Yeah.
Because we are alone. Relocating or moving from your home country is huge. It's like one of the, the second most stressful event that could happen in your life.
Yeah.
And people underestimate how serious that can actually be if they do not seek the help or seek somebody that has experience to speak to them, just to get some, advice or some knowledge as to how to handle the whole relocation, because mentally it's stressful and can really pull you down if you're not strong enough to deal with those changes. So I think it's key. It's key in every aspect of our lives to look after our mental health.
And this conversation could go on forever talking about mental wellness.
Yeah, I know.
So just to wrap up, we had the lockdown, and I know that a big chunk of what you do and how you support the women in your community is events. And I know you've been doing some virtual work, but how is that shaping up for you now? And what are your plans moving forward?
Oh, the pandemic really opened up new doors for me in that aspect. I was doing the events, obviously, in person here in Dubai. And I'd always have like a speaker to come and attend and to share their expertise and professionalism. But moving those online when the pandemic happened opened the door and opportunities for women around the world to be able to get onto the group and have those discussions with me and with the group. Moving forward, I plan to continue doing that on the group. The group is growing, it's expanding, and I just see beautiful things coming out of it. And the whole purpose of the group was created for the women, for the expat women, to support them and to give them that platform to feel supported and safe to express themselves. And then hopefully once things start to ease a bit more here in Dubai, I hope to be able to start doing the in-person events again safely. That's the key word these days.
Safe
safely.
Distancing, I know.
Safe distancing.
Yeah. I don't know. They call it, we have to adjust to a new normal, but I think one way or another, there's a normal and there's a new, and they need to be separated. We can't say it's new normal. We need to say we need to extract what was kind of normal and we could still do, and what is new and we can adapt out of it. So maybe we're hopeful. I was just telling my husband today, I'm like, I can't wait to get on a plane again, like go through the airport and passport control and board the flight, go home possibly. So that would be nice for a change.
It would be. We're taking the plunge. We're going to Egypt for midterm break.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We're hoping it would have opened up here for us to be able to do that. But let's see how that works out. So if we do end up in Cairo at the same time, then we can have our in-person coffee.
Coffee, for sure. I'd love that.
Navine, thank you so much. It was amazing to continue the conversation. Thank you for your time and for your energy.
Thank you so much, Hanan.
Thank you.
I could speak to you for hours, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
But I know we have to end this.
That's what I tell. Like usually the end of every conversation is like, okay, guys, I'm sorry, we have to cut this off. We're going to continue off air because we're going to go on for a while. But we'll definitely, I'm sure we're going to have more follow-up conversations to this follow-up conversation.
For sure, been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Ladies, again, and gentlemen, of course, if you're listening or viewing us, empowered you empowers others. Take care of your health, take care of your mental health and your mental wellness, and that is your wealth. And love, prosperity, and abundance to you all. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empowered to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananelbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all. Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empowered to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananelbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.